Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirahe Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text number 14. The chapter is titled Knowledge of the Absolute. Daivihe gunamahi mama maya duratya mama evaye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Daivihe gunamahi mama maya mam duratya Mame ye prapadante maya metam tarantite. Daivihe shagunamai mama maya mam durte. Mame ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Anybody else would like to chant?
Devyesha gunamayi mama maya durataya mameve prabhadyante mayam etam tarantite.
Daivihe gunamayi mama
Maya durjaya. Haribol.
We are not hearing, Mataji. Are you there?
I think somebody got locked out. So.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, the signal was gone. Daivihe gunamayi mama maya durataya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Sorry, Prabhuji.
That's okay. Anybody else? Okay.
Daivihesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite.
Synonyms. Daivi, transcendental. He, certainly. Esha, this. Gunamai, consisting of the three modes of material nature. Mama Maya, Maya, energy. Duratteya, very difficult to overcome. Mam, onto me. Eva, certainly. Ye, those who. Prapadyante, surrender. Mayam etaham, this illusory energy. Taranti, overcome. Te, they. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. This divine energy of me, this divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable energies, and all these energies are divine. Although the living entities are part of his energies and are therefore divine, due to contact with material energy, their original superior power is covered. Being thus covered by material energy, one cannot possibly overcome its influence. As previously stated, both the material and spiritual natures, being emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord. But due to contamination by the inferior nature, matter, the illusion is also eternal. The living entities belong to the eternal superior nature of the Lord, but due to contamination by the inferior nature, matter, their illusion is also eternal. The conditioned soul is therefore called Nityabaddha or eternally conditioned. No one can trace out the history of his becoming conditioned at a certain date in material history. Consequently, his release from the clutches of material nature is very difficult, even though that material nature is an inferior energy, because material energy is ultimately conducted by the supreme will, which the living entity cannot overcome. Inferior material nature is defined herein as divine nature due to its divine connection and movement by the divine will. Being conducted by divine will, material nature, although inferior, acts so wonderfully in the construction and destruction of the cosmic manifestation. The Vedas confirm this as follows: Mayam to Prakritim Vidyan, Mainam to Maheshwaram. Although Maya, illusion, is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead, who is Maheshwar, the supreme controller. Shvetasvatara Upanishad 4.10. Another meaning of guna is rope. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. Another meaning of guna is rope. It is to be understood that the conditioned soul is tightly tied by the ropes of illusion. A man bound by the hands and feet cannot free himself. He must be held by a person who is unbound. Because the bound cannot help the bound, the rescuer must be liberated. Therefore, only Lord Krishna or his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, can release the conditioned soul. Without such superior help, one cannot be freed from the bondage of material nature. Devotional service of Krishna consciousness can help one gain such release. Krishna, being the Lord of the illusory energy, can order this insurmountable energy to release the conditioned soul. He orders this release out of his causeless mercy on the surrendered soul and out of his paternal affection for the living entity, who is originally a beloved son of the Lord. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means. Therefore, surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord is the only means to get free from the clutches of the stringent material nature. The words Mam Eva are also significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu, only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajaguna passion and Tamoguna ignorance to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya, therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned souls. The Vedas, Svetasvatara Upanishad 3.8, confirm this in the phrase Tam eva viditva. Freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti pradate sarvasam Vishnu evana sansaya. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. Om Agnanatimnandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurmitan Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swamrupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sijuta Padakamanam Shri Guru Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatapitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Paryana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Mam Durte Mam Eva Yepapadante Mayam Etam Tarantite. This divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who are surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. This is a nice section, wonderful words, where we see in this particular section, especially these two verses, 13th and 14th verse, Krishna talks about, like in the previous verses, talks about Tribhigunamai Bhavai, Ebimidam Jagatam Mohitam Nabi Janati Mamebhyam Paramavayam. This divine energy of me consists of these three modes of material nature. Though I am the creator, I do not come under the influence. I am inexhaustible. The whole world is bewildered by these three modes of material nature. Right. So the whole world is bewildered by these three modes of material nature. Which are these three modes of material nature? Rajagun, Tamogun, and Sattvagun. Mode of passion, ignorance, mode of passion, and mode of goodness. Right? These are the three modes of material nature, and the combination and permutation of these three modes of material nature, the whole world comes under the influence. Right? Just like we see a rope. A rope is basically made with strands of different threads, right? Where it is entwined in each other, right? These different strands are entwined in such a way that it becomes like a very strong. One thread, one can easily break it with the hand, right? But a rope is very, very difficult to break, right? And especially when our hands are tied, right? Our legs are tied by this rope. We are completely bound. We are completely bound under this illusory spell of Maya by these three modes of material nature. Right? We all have different percentages of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Right? Even a lower animal has different percentages of goodness, passion, ignorance. In the lower animals, the ignorance level is quite higher, right? While on the human platform, the ignorance level and passion level is there, but at the same time, there's a goodness level, right? So, if human being now, as such, ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithunam, which is common between animals and human beings. But on the human platform, one can think about dharma. One can think about dharma. Dharma ya adhika vishesha. Dharma nahi na pasubhishamana. If we cannot think, if we does not think about dharma, He's supposed to be shamanam. He's like animal, poor like an animal. So, what does that mean? He's completely covered by ignorance and passion, right? Like an animal is covered by ignorance and passion. He's also completely covered if he does not inquire about dharma. But if we take shelter of the Supreme Lord, means it's these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome. And immediately in these words, Lord Krishna is saying, is giving a solution to that. It's very difficult to overcome, but I have a solution for you. What is the solution? Daivi Hesha Gunamai, right? Manamayamam Duratya is difficult to overcome. This divine energy of mine is is very difficult to overcome. Maya metam tarantite, but for that person, right, who surrenders onto me, that person who surrenders onto me, for him, I make it very easy to overcome. Hold on for one moment, let me get some water.
You are in.
Hare
Hello?
Krishna Prabhuji, you are on mute, Prabhuji.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So what's mentioned here that the example given is just like a person is drowning in the ocean of material existence. For him to, it's like considered as an ocean. Bhava Sagar, it's considered as ocean. It's very difficult to cross the ocean. But for one who surrenders to the Supreme Lord, Mayam etam tarantite, he is delivered by the Supreme Lord. Why? Because then that ocean becomes like a small puddle of water which is spilled in the footprint of a calf. Right? The footprint of a calf, a small offspring of the cow, the footprint is a small footprint. And the water which is spilled in that is very small. So it's very easy to overcome. Right? So for one who surrenders onto the Supreme Lord, it becomes very easy to overcome. Otherwise, he is bound by this rope. Now, another wonderful analogy which Sir Prabhupada gave in the purport is about this rope. When we are bound, it is difficult for ourselves to free ourselves. When we are bound by this conditioned nature, when we are in illusion of this material existence, and when did we fall into illusion? It's very difficult to assess. Nitya Baddha, eternally conditioned. The soul is eternally conditioned. Right? Though the soul is made from this divine energy of the Supreme Lord, Aparasakti, the superior nature of the Supreme Lord, right? We have this energy of the Lord is divided into three classes: material energy, superior energy, and when the superior energy, the inferior energy, or the external energy, the internal energy, and marginal energy, right? The internal energy is the transcendental energy of the Supreme Lord. The external energy, Bahirangi Shakti, right, is the three mode of material nature. And because it is the energy of the Supreme Lord, it's considered as divine, the divine energy of mind. Right. It's considered divine. And then the Tatastha Shakti, the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord, which we fall into, right? We are the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord, which is the soul. The soul has the same quality. Qualitatively, it is the same as the quality of the Supreme Lord. Sat Chidananda, that's the quality of the soul. But because the soul has identified itself with the body, it is just thinking about the body. I'm male, I'm female, I'm a man, I'm a animal, I'm this, I'm that, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm a Hindu, I'm Muslim. It's identifying. It's identifying with his body. Right? It is identifying with his body. Eternally conditioned. And so it is bound by this rope, right? It is bound by this rope, and it cannot free himself when he is bound. Nor he can be freed by a person who is already bound, right? Now we are bound, and now we can say, oh dear family member, please release me. But when they are also bound, it's difficult for them to release you, right? So that's why the release is very difficult. And it becomes possible only when it takes shelter of the Supreme Lord or his bona fide representative, who the Supreme Lord is not bound, just like in the previous verse, the Lord says, though I have made these three modes of material nature, I do not come under the influence of that. I am inexhaustible. But the Lord is not bound. And similarly, the Lord's devotees, his bona fide representatives, are not bound. Right. So they are not bound. So that's why when Arjuna is completely confused about his duty, oh, I'm confused about my duty. I do not know whether I should fight this war, I should not fight this war. What does he do? Shishyateham sadhimam tam prapanam. I'm a soul surrendered unto you. He accepts Lord Krishna as his spiritual master. So the bona fide representative of the Supreme Lord, as well as the Supreme Lord, they are not bound. They are not bound by these three modes of material nature, and so they are able to free you from these three modes of material nature. So that's why the Nitya Baddha soul then becomes Kripa Siddha. Kripa Siddha means he gets the Kripa, the mercy of the spiritual master or the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Initially, to follow the process. And if you follow the process perfectly, he perfects that process. Right? That's why if he perfects that process, then it's called Kripa Siddha. He becomes perfected by the mercy of a devotee or mercy of the Supreme Lord, which flows to the bona fide representative. Right? And to that mercy, then he is able to unbound himself. Mama maya mam duratteya maya metam tarandite. Right? Maya metam tarandite. He is able to release himself. Right? The Lord helps him to unbound from this rope. Right? So that's why this verse is very important, where Lord Krishna is saying, Mama Maya indicates that only Krishna, again, another point which is made is only Lord Vishnu will be able to deliver. Right, and which is affirmed by Lord Shiva also. That only Lord Vishnu. There is no doubt that Vishnu can give liberation from this material modes of nature. Otherwise, we see even to Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, at times Lord Krishna, due to through his internal energy, can make them fall into illusion through his internal energy. Just like we see in the Mohini avatar, the Supreme Lord, is making Lord Shiva chase the Mohini avatar, right? While he was standing right next to Mother Parvati. Right. So, that's ultimately by those examples, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma establishes the supreme position of Lord Vishnu and the Supreme Lord. Not that they also fall into illusion, but they establish the supreme position of the Supreme Lord by that examples. Right. Okay. Are there any questions or discussions on these wonderful words? Okay. 7:40. Discussion time. Somebody has any reflection or a solution that they can come out of this material nature, influence of this material nature without surrendering, please let us know.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dhan Pranam.
So, just want to know like the energy of the Lord, right? So there are three types of energy you mentioned.
Yes.
So I forgot about the internal energy. There are three types of internal energy, right? Could you please explain that internal energy per little bit?
Okay, wonderful. So the question is, okay, there are three kinds of, there are many energy, but mostly it is classified into three kinds: internal energy, external energy, and marginal energy. But then the internal energy is further classified into three types: Sandhini Sakti, Samvit Sakti, and Ladini Sakti. The Ladini Sakti, what does that mean? The pleasure-giving potency of the Supreme Lord is a Ladini Sakti. Samvit Sakti, the knowledge potency; Sandhini Sakti, the existential potency. Right? So the existential potency, the knowledge potency, and the pleasure potency. Just like Sat Chid Ananda. Right? Sat means eternality, Chid means knowledge, and Ananda means bliss. So similarly, these three, Sandhini, Samvit, and Ladini, is the three, the internal energy is further classified into three types. That's where, and we see there are different controllers. Just like Ladini Sakti is controlled by Srimati Radharani. The pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord is controlled by Srimati Radharani. The knowledge potency is controlled by Lord Balaram himself, who is the original spiritual master. And the existential potency is controlled by Lord Krishna himself, from whom everything comes into being. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamahamajami. Sarva Karana Karanam is the cause of all causes. From him everything manifests. Eta Chamshakala Pumsham Krishna to Bhagwan Swayam. Right? When Srimad Bhagavatam, various incarnations are listed, it's mentioned that these are all expansions and incarnation of the Supreme Lord. But Krishna is Swayam Bhagwan. He is the avatari, source of all avatars. Is that all right, Niranjan Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. And one more question I have.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm saying that I am surrendering to God, okay, but how do I know that whether I'm actually surrendered or not? Like, is there any way we can find out whether the person is really surrendered or not?
Yeah. Very nice question. So somebody says that, oh, I have surrendered to the Lord. How do we know that he has actually surrendered to the Lord? Right. Is a person surrendered to the Lord always talks about the Lord. Right. Always talks about the Lord. Person surrendered to the Lord always talks about the Lord. In each and everything, each and every activity he performs that activity just as that, oh, I'm performing the activity on behalf of the Supreme Lord. He does not consider himself the doer of that activity. Right. He sees the mercy of the Lord at each and every step. Just like we were observing on Monday, Srila Prabhupada's arrival in the United States. Srila Prabhupada, in his poetry in Jaladuta, he is writing, right? Somehow or other, Lord, you have brought me here, right? Somehow or other, you have brought me here. You have saved me. You know, when he embarked on this journey from India to here in a cargo ship, it took him 38 days to come here. In that 38 days, he had 2 heart attacks. Right. But somehow the Lord took the entire control of the ship. You know, the entire ocean, Atlantic Ocean at that time, though many times it would be very violent, at that time it became completely serene and calm to give comfort to his pure devotee. So Srila Prabhupada kind of acknowledges in each and every of that particular days that, oh, it is all by the mercy of the Lord. Now you have brought me here. Now you have brought me here. I'm completely, uh, you have given me the name Bhakti Vedanta, but I have not yet fulfilled the purpose of that name. Right. So in each and every action which a pure devotee performs, he always sees that that's because of the mercy of the Supreme Lord. I'm just a puppet in your hand. You make me dance, make me dance, make me dance as the way you want. Right? That's how the thought process is. So a person surrender to the Lord, means accepts that, oh, means he is following a process. Right. Initial surrender to coming to the full surrender. Initial surrender means having Shraddha, Adau Shraddha, having faith in the Lord. Then strengthening his faith by Sadhu Sangha and Bhajan Kriya. Then approaching an expert. Just as here it's mentioned, for you to completely be unbound by these anarthas, unbound by this material nature, you need an expert help of a spiritual master. Then your faith becomes strong faith, nishta. So there's a process, right? So one who is taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, we can know what he's always thinking about, what he's always talking about. Then we can know his level of advancement, right? And ultimately, introspectively, we ourselves will also know, not that other persons have to make a judgment about us. Ourselves will know that, oh, what level I'm situated at. Am I able to get rid of my Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moho, Mad, Matsarya? And to what level I've been able to get rid of that? Now, as those who have taken shelter of the Supreme Lord or his mission, will see that our devotees, they are students, Vaidhi Bhakta, right? Vaidhi Bhakti. They are following Vaidhi Bhakti. And in the process of following Vaidhi Bhakti, they're able to overcome some level of sense gratification and able to sacrifice, but they're still students, right? None of our students claims, oh, now I become completely pure. I'm a, now a Paramahansa, everybody, takes shelter of me. No. They're students. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anything else? Any other discussion?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Okay.
Prabhuji, my question is that can we elaborate on the characteristics of modes of material nature by some examples so that we know that if we are influenced under some or the other nature, what does that mean?
Very nice. Characteristics of these various modes, right? The characteristics of mode of ignorance. So in the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I believe it's 17, right? The divisions of faith, yeah. It's mentioned quite detail about various characteristics. A person in mode of ignorance would like to sleep for many, many hours, right? Sleep itself is considered as taking shelter of Maya, ignorance. But certain amount of hours of sleep are needed. But at that time, we take shelter of Maya. So that's why before taking sleep, it is recommended that we read about the Supreme Lord or we chant about the Supreme Lord before taking rest. But that person who likes to be in that illusion of no, though he's had sufficient rest, though I still want to sleep, it's considered as more in mode of ignorance. Foods in mode of ignorance is more pungent, more smell, food which has a lot of odor, bad odor, like meat and all those kind of things are food in the mode of ignorance. Right. Similarly, in mode of passion, people always like to build something, or always like uh, working day and night. Right? Working day and night is more of passion. Rajasic mode. Administration is also in Rajasic mode. Kshatriyas, right? They are quite in mode of passion, right? Well, then that's why we see they also get infatuated by opposite sex. It's also mode of passion, right? And then we see mode of goodness. When mode of goodness, like they are Brahmanas. Brahmanas are considered as more in mode of goodness. Shudras are considered more in mode of ignorance. Vaishyas and Kshatriyas are considered as more in mode of passion. So Brahmanas are more in mode of goodness, where they have simple things. The food in mode of passion is they like to eat hot food, right? Spicy food, hot food. Those are food in mode of passion. Now, in mode of goodness, they like to eat mild food, fruits. These they take pleasure in eating that roots, right? Uh, Professionally, they like to teach, right? They like to teach. Um, they are satisfied with simple needs. Not that, oh, I need a no, now I need a 6-figure or 7-figure salary. I need this many rooms. No, no, they're satisfied in the simple living. Simple living, high thinking is more their motto, and more in mode of goodness. So these various characteristics are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. And the divisions of faith chapter, you will see that in quite description when we'll come to that chapter of these various characteristics. Is that all right, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Shimesha Prabhu has posted in the uh, chat text 8, 9, and 10 about foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease. And foods prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. Food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. Yeah. So this is all from the 17th chapter, and a lot of description is there about that. When there is increase in the mode of ignorance, or son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. From the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops, and from the mode of passion, greed develops, and from the mode of ignorance, develop foolishness, madness, and illusion. Thank you, Shimesh Prabhu. Nice.
No problem.
Nice section.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of description of these different modes of material nature. If you see we have a small book called Laws of Nature, where means we see these representatives of Maya, and then there are different ropes, where means we are kind of tied with those different ropes of mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, and means somehow based on that different competition combination, we strive for one thing or the other. We crave for certain kinds of food when our passion is dominant, and different times of the day also it is mentioned. Different modes are more prominent, just like early hours of the day, mode of goodness is more prominent. In the middle of the day, mode of passion is more prominent. And more in darkness, more in later night, mode of ignorance is more prominent. Right? And that's where sincere seekers of Krishna consciousness, they rise early in the morning, they chant early in the morning. Mode of goodness is very prominent. Yeah, good. Anything else? Okay. So we invite you all for the Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath in Philadelphia tomorrow,
Yep.
where we can pull this rope of love of the cart in which the Lord is traveling. And pulling that rope itself would also pull us out and bound us from this rope of material existence. Yeah. Yeah.
Who all are going tomorrow for a yatra? Nobody is going.
Raise your hand or
Bimal Gupta Prabhu.
No, Prabhu.
Mataji. Sorry.
No, नहीं जा रहे.
Janaki Mataji, Mona Mataji, Niranjan Prabhu, Sachi Mataji, Satyabhama Mataji.
We are going, Prabhuji.
Wonderful. Very nice. You don't lose. These are rare opportunities to be in the association of lordships. It's a wonderful pastime. Lord is on the chariot and devotees are pulling.
another thing which you get an opportunity is there'll be so much sadhu sangha, likely minded people will gather. Otherwise, we'll see that, we are like, a temple where only Indians are. No, but there you'll see so many people from different parts of the world will be there. Join the Rath Yatra. Dattata Prabhu is most welcome also to join the Rath Yatra. Hari Hari.
He's
I
always
want to go. Haribol, I want to come.
Yeah, please. Travel with
You're
the
there
spirit of
already, Mataji,
mind.
with your heart, with your soul, you're already there. Only body is separating. That's what it is.
Yeah, a long time didn't go Philadelphia Ratha Yatra.
Mm.
Krishna.
His Holiness Kandamakaran Maharaj is going to be there also.
Oh yeah, Maharaj will
Oh,
be there.
must be doing nice kirtan,
Oh, yeah.
jumping.
Mm. Yeah.
Who else will be there, Prabhuji?
Well, that's what many other devotees will be there, but I'm sure this
Maharaj.
Vishnu Gada for
Last-
sure, he's the coordinator.
Yeah. Last year there were few Maharaj were there.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Ravi
Bhakti?
Maharaj, Chandrasekhar Maharaj might be also there.
Yeah. Jadadru Maharaj won't be there, right? Maharaj is not here, right?
Yeah, he's in Columbus. Somehow he initially was scheduled to go to Philadelphia Rath Yatra,
Oh.
but same dates, then Columbus Yatra got him. So he said,
Oh.
okay.
So Columbus also has a Yatra?
Well, Yatra means Columbus
Okay, for the other congregation. Okay.
congregation.
Columbus, Ohio?
Yeah.
No, Radhanottabal, beautiful, small date.
Radhanatpur, yes. Okay.
Wonderful. Yeah. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class.
Yeah.
Realizations, wonderful discussions. Thank you so much. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining. This makes this so spiritual, so wonderful, and in constant association of the Lord's, the words. It's not different than Krishna. Krishna is Nama, Rupa, Guna. Everything is Krishna. So constant association of Krishna makes us also. Srila Prabhupada always says that when we put an iron rod into the fire, eventually it becomes fire, the iron rod, the same color, same potency, and it's completely become the fire. Like that. By the association of, Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, devotees, you also eventually become like that. You can completely purify. So that only way we can cross over this material ocean. Thank you so much. So please continue. Sunday morning, there is a class, 9 to 10, 9 to 10:30, right? 9 to 10.
Yeah, 9 to 10 is the class where Hari Shori
Sudhakar
on
Sudha
the
Kirti Prabhu, right?
Shuddha Kirti Prabhu, sorry. Shuddha Kirti Prabhu is speaking from Vrindavan
Yeah.
on arrival of Sri Prabhupada in US.
Yeah. So please join. Please don't miss this rare, very, very rare. These are very fortunate souls can have all this wonderful association.
Personal servants of Sri Prabhupada, Shuddha Kirti Prabhu.
Yeah.
For a few years he served Sri Prabhupada. Personal servant means they were carrying out intimate service for Sri Prabhupada day in, day out on physical level. So,
yeah. Try every moment that we can have or relish these wonderful opportunities, being with the devotees, hearing, chanting, association, so many ways. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time, all the other activities. Thank you so much. So let's pay our obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarupasya upasindhya Siddhanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Indira Srimad
Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Here go. Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Madhupati Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.